Gary even. I think that was Gary. No, Sean.
Does this mic work?
Hello?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
You're listening to the only podcast that admits they might know what they are talking about.
Sounds like something a guy in a van would tell me.
This is We Might Know Sports.
I love you!
What were my options again? Sorry.
Come on!
With Cory.
I hope everyone has a ball.
Kevin. Don't listen to Stefan and his corrupt rules. And Stefan.
Pacers versus the Mavs, which is, I believe, is also tonight. Oh, goddamn you, Siri. Stop. I've never once called you and, actually wanted to talk.
You said Pacers.
Pacers. Yeah. There's a no-hitter right now. Bottom of the seventh. Oh, never mind. No longer a no-hitter.
Wow! You know it's bad when Kevin's correcting people on their pronunciation of names. You know you're in trouble. You, sir, are god-awful.
That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
It's time!
And here we go.
Wait. Trubisky sucks.
Here we go. Episode 117.
Thought
We might
about
know sports.
Thought about doing final countdown, but once again didn't want to get pulled.
Yeah. Trying not to get pulled anymore.
That's what she said.
I am trying to get pulled. Bittersweet day. The end of an era.
I hated it. After the Elite Eight, I was done watching.
College basketball's over. Cory's last in person next to me show.
My last podcast in New York, probably for a while.
Might be his last podcast ever. I think we might just have to make some serious changes.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, looks like I'm catching the pink slip.
Breaking news.
Guess you're losing your job, or you're leaving your job, and you're getting fired from.
Yikes!
Your boss from
Better
your
be
old
a
job
good-
called me and persuaded me. He said, just not a good guy.
Just okay. No skills.
Better be a good yikes. Got a lot on the line now.
Doesn't know how to pick NASCAR. Get rid of him.
Any other year, I would be doing fine. This year, you're on some Jordan level. I don't know what is going on.
I can't wait to just.
I'm 5 or 6 weeks in a row of hitting 30s, and I'm like, damn, I'm good. And then I look over, and you're 30s or 40s every fucking week. So I have zero ketchup and a lot of mustard.
I can't wait to finish this NASCAR season and self-proclaim myself the GOAT. And I will make you guys refer to me as the GOAT. That's just the way it's going to be. Yeah, so moving on to last week's multiple questions of the week. We had both Final Four games. Michigan State versus Texas Tech, Virginia versus Auburn. Do we have who won?
Yeah. Well, we already know who won. Obviously, Texas
I know
Tech
who
and
won the
Virginia
games, but
in our fan voting, Michigan State had 7, and Texas Tech only had 2 votes.
not a lot of love for Texas Tech.
Who are those 2?
It wasn't me.
No one on this podcast. Well, one guest. One guest. How about that? Joe voted for Texas Tech. And then Auburn, Virginia was a little closer.
And the game was
I think it was
rather
5-4.
close.
Yeah, 5-4. So 4 votes for Auburn, 5 for Virginia.
It should have been Auburn too.
Should have.
Auburn should have.
I thought the foul was legit.
Foul was legit.
That foul was legit.
I agreed with Kyle Guy. Like, you have to be able to land. He was in his space. You can't.
No, there's no argument about.
I'm not going to argue the double dribble. That was straight up a double dribble. I mean,
But the guy was also trying to follow him there. So it was.
I know. I agree with, I think, Jay Williams afterwards. They asked him the question about should you be able to replay stuff like that. He said you're going to go down a real slippery slope because if you guys paid attention, there's a foul during that play. There's a double dribble during that play. What are we calling? What do you call?
Yeah. Can't call everything.
Right.
Everyone wanted a replay, but I mean.
Bruce Pearl, I mean, the next took him a couple days, and then they interviewed him, and he said that his answer is going to sound pretty PC at this point, but he's being honest about it. He goes, I understand every game there's going to be human error. There's going to be coaching error. There's going to be a player error. There's going to be ref errors. That's part of basketball. It's going to happen.
Part of any
Sometimes,
sport.
yeah, he goes, and there's been times where it's gone our way. It just didn't this time. So it's, what can you do? Does it hurt? Yeah. Does it suck? Yeah. But like he said, he goes, I already, being a coach, you have to have a quick memory because I'm back on my recruitment job. I can't even think about that game. I'm losing players. I had to say bye to them, all that stuff. So he seemed okay. I'm sure that night he wasn't, but he is now.
I think I saw an interview from him like immediately after. He handled it pretty well.
And Virginia did the unthinkable.
That they did.
Lose the very first round as a 1 seed all the way to winning it.
From worst.
First time ever winning it.
Yeah. So they have two of probably the worst record and one of the best records. They're a champion. It's awesome. And the worst record being the only person to lose to a 16.
Will they go down as one of our best champions, though?
We'll find out later.
We'll find out later.
Bracket Boyz.
Bracket Boyz are back.
Bracket Boyz.
Then we also did a vote for the championship game, correct?
Yes. Yes, we did.
Between Virginia and Texas Tech.
Texas Tech only got 3 votes to Virginia's 5. So a lot of Virginia fans out there.
That one I did buy into Texas Tech and finally backfired on me. God damn you, Texas Tech.
I picked Virginia on the podcast. I thought it was going to be Michigan State, Virginia, and Virginia would win.
Bullshit. Ended up being a really good game, though.
Yeah, it didn't start off that way. That's for sure.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be much of a game.
I think it was like 3-2 in the first 5 minutes with like only one made shot out of 5, I think, or 11.
It's kind of expected, though. Both highly touted defenses.
I mean, you could have bet and won money in Vegas. The over-under was 100.
How about that guy that turned down $68,000, I think? He had Texas Tech winning it all, and the place where he made the bet offered him $68,000 before the game to buy his ticket, like to avoid any bigger payout. He turned it down, and now he's got nothing.
Jeez.
I mean, you gotta let it ride, I guess. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, but if he took the 68, you won either way.
yeah.
But I'm guessing that the amount that he could have won was probably substantially more.
Like 300.
Yeah.
I think it was like 3,000 to 1 odds for Texas Tech.
He had to have been some ridiculous payout.
Yeah.
They were paying him $68,000 just to get him to go away, basically. This week's question, I don't know if it's been posted yet.
Working on it.
Working on being posted. Do you care about golf? Your options are no, or only if Tiger is playing, or yes.
Nope.
Cory is a hard no.
Hard no.
I could actually sit there. I think it's probably mostly because I'll play golf and I actually enjoy playing golf and stuff. So I could sit there and watch people play, and I just imagine myself someday
Being able to hit those shots.
being able to hit any semblance of any of those shots. I know it's more of a fantasy world that I'm living in right there,
That's
but
how I am with tennis.
yeah.
It's not because I watch. Well, I do watch because I enjoy it, but it's mostly like, how the hell are they doing this?
Mhm.
While there are other people that don't play. Like me for golf, that's why I don't play.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't mean anything to me. So people who don't play tennis probably watching like they just hit the ball back and forth. Like how hard is it?
Right.
But if you play, you know.
Yeah. I feel like I'm that way with tennis too. I don't play as obviously nearly as much as you do, but I have played, and it does look easy. They make it look easy, but it sure isn't easy.
It
Like
is.
golf. Like golf, you're like, oh, they just swing a club. Like how hard is it? And then when I go out there and my ball goes into the ground, like, and I throw my club like Happy Gilmore, I realize how hard it is. It's just frustrating.
I think the most frustrating. I'm a no only if Tiger's playing. That's why I did the if Tiger's playing. 'Cause I need some entertainment, and one thing the announcers are like, I don't think he's gonna hit the ball right. Will
Yeah, announcers could be better, but it is like a gentleman's game, kind of like tennis.
Yeah. But I'm not opposed to there being somebody like back when I did actually watch golf. I liked John Daly, like a rebel that was out there. Someone, I don't know, a little bit different that would bring some attention to the sport.
And a Happy Gilmore out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if there was someone like that, I'd probably watch. Like in tennis, one of my favorite players is Nick Kyrgios. He's hated though by most of his peers. But he's the rebel out there. He makes it interesting. He'll hit a tweener, and then there'll be plays where he just doesn't play.
Tweener. Ooh. I think the other frustrating thing about golf is you sit there, and if you ever play, you watch the guys stand up and make it look easy, and then you go up to the tee for the very first time, and like, since you watch that, and you're like, oh, they made it look easy, I can do this, and then you swing, and you either top the ball and it goes 5 yards, or you hit it and it goes about 18 yards, 2 holes to your right.
Yep. Always go with high hopes. Quickly squashed after the first hole.
So that poll is now up.
So we're 1 yes and 2 no's. You care?
I care. I like watching golf. I don't like follow it religiously or anything, but like the big tournaments,
Did you win golf
if they happen to be.
last year?
He won golf last
Golf
year. Yeah.
on.
Golden Thumb.
Who did?
No, he
You got
did.
it. Oh, he did.
Oh, I didn't get an asterisk next to my name. That's why I didn't know.
Oh,
Hold on. Let me double check on that then.
I think Kevin still had it.
I didn't do it. I know
think
it
I
was
just-
between me and someone else, but I didn't win.
I know I just imported the thing. So I'll look that up while we go to our next subject.
Well, let's get into college basketball. Finish off the season here for the most part. Final Four, I thought was pretty solid Final Four. And championship game.
It was solid.
The
Elite
Michigan
8, too.
State Texas Tech game wasn't all that.
It was close. It was a good game. Wasn't exciting.
It wasn't like the Auburn. I guess that's what made it seem worse than it was. Probably is the Auburn Virginia game was so good.
Yeah. I don't know. I think whatever games are close. I thought from Elite Eight on, like all the games were solid.
Cardiac calves. That's what they were all tournament.
Cardiac calves. They made the plays they had to make.
Spell that from cardiac cues.
I stole it.
No more cardiac cues.
No,
Cardiac cues is over.
you're over when you can't beat Baylor opening round.
Damn. Shots fired early.
Yikes.
I mean, I think it was one of the most. I don't know who would have pictured this championship game at the beginning of the season or at any point during the season.
I think Virginia is probably the most believable team. No one thought Texas Tech. Like,
Yeah.
I had Texas Tech in my Final
Which is
Four.
kind of crazy because I think Texas Tech was just in the Elite Eight like the year before.
Mhm.
Only
But they weren't far out.
Only two teams beat Virginia all year. They're pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they have 3 losses. Duke beat them twice. And then Florida
Duke's the
State.
team that couldn't even make it to the Final Four.
Virginia basically was probably thinking, we can do it, unless Duke is in the championship.
Yep. By the way, it was Stephen that won it last year.
Last year.
Yeah. So we'll
Yeah, I was
add
pretty
that
sure it was.
asterisk. Dun, 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 dun.
Taking over all aspects except for college basketball. I can't figure out. Or NFL.
That's fine.
Our two
Or
major-
NFL.
Our 2 major sports.
Yeah.
I could not figure them out. Whatever. Taking over everything else. Yeah, so Virginia goes from, like we said earlier, one of the worst tournament appearances to making it to the top, basically.
One of the greatest championships ever.
I mean, it's one of the
Overtime. I
Yeah.
mean,
hasn't been in overtime since a while.
Since Villanova over
since
North
Kansas,
Carolina.
Memphis. Oh, since who?
North Carolina,
Oh, well,
Villanova.
yeah, I guess it wasn't that long
Oh.
ago.
No. Oh, that's true. That was actually one of my favorite championships right there.
That was a good one.
Because Paige hit a ridiculous shot just to get it there, and then the other ridiculous shot to
Yep.
win it.
Just ridiculous shot after
Yeah.
ridiculous shot.
Chris Jenkins, I'll never forget that douchebag. Ripped my heart
Tell us
out
how
there.
you really feel, Corey. Didn't they win it the next year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, how hard life must be with a championship, or 12, or however many North Carolina has.
Tough.
What was it? I think I know a lot of Syracuse fans are like trying to stick it to Duke fans, and they're like, "At least we've been to a Final Four since 2011. Actually, we've been to 2." I was like, "Yeah, but they won that one." So
Yeah.
It's hard to really combat Duke unless you're a UCLA fan. And even if you're a
I
UCLA
was gonna
fan,
say nowadays.
the counter is going to be you haven't been relevant for 50 years.
Mm-hmm. How's your head coaching search going on? Oh, wait.
UCLA?
UCLA is up to like day 100.
Mick Cronin.
Yeah, they hired McCronin.
Oh, they finally announced that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
He's made it to the tournament 9 years in a row and has gotten out of the first round once.
So
Solid hire.
I think that's when
He's a
when you
competitor.
got when you got no other options.
Well, he was third on the list. Calipari was first. Kentucky made sure to seal that up real quick. Gave him the lifetime.
He was fourth.
What?
He was fourth at least.
Oh. I heard second was Jamie Dixon. They couldn't agree on terms.
And you had Barnes,
Barnes.
Barnes.
who basically got a raise because of this.
Yeah.
Rick Barnes was contemplating it for a little bit.
Cronin. Not even a bronze, buddy. I'm sorry.
I thought it would be
Maybe
interesting.
that's what he
to
needed, though. Maybe he needs to get out of Cincinnati. Probably get better recruits.
He'll get better recruits at UCLA.
Maybe
But
6 years.
and I think he's thinking the Pac-12 is kind of wide open.
Yeah, now's the time to join.
Yeah. Could work out. He'll
don't-
still make the tournament and lose every round.
I'm guessing he got a slight pay bump. 6 year,
If they call it a
24
short
million.
leash, though.
I'm assuming because I think it averaged out to almost $4 million a year.
Yeah.
Quite a
So
bit for Mick Cronin.
If they call it a short leash with UCLA.
it was exactly 100 days.
I don't know. I think they'll give him 2 years.
Like, say he doesn't make it out of the first round 2 years, or doesn't make the tournament.
I'm saying, I think they're okay if he doesn't make the tournament for 2 years, and then he better get his ass there.
I think if he doesn't make the tournament in 2 years, I think they fire him at that point.
Do you think so?
I think so.
I feel like you need to give your guy some time to recruit his guys.
You'd think. but universities don't think that way. NFL owners don't think that way. A lot of places.
They also better be prepared for what kind of people are going to be starting to go to UCLA, because you know what those Cincinnati teams have been.
Mm-hmm.
Rough.
They said that when they announced his hire, that we wanted someone that was aggressive and competitive, and I was just thinking, well, you better be prepared for what's going to be on your team.
Yeah.
UCLA is known as kind of being this athletic team that's, I don't know, not dainty, but not tough. That's all going to change, I would think.
We'll see how that goes. Some other news here. Apparently Zion. I don't know if it was him exactly, but I think his mom accepted some money from
allegedly
Nike.
Allegedly.
That's all we have to. The wording we have to use here.
It's not proven yet.
Air quotes.
Does anybody care at this point? I mean, we all know he's leaving. They didn't win a national championship. What are you gonna do? Take away their wins?
Like when
take away his
Elite Eight. They didn't make it there. Like they did to Reggie Bush's championship team.
They did make it to Elite Eight.
They took away Reggie Bush's championship.
All right, I gotcha. What you mean? I thought you were like
they took away his Heisman. So they take, like you said, do they take away the Naismith?
That's what I'm saying.
The way it came across, I thought you were saying like, oh, they didn't make the Elite Eight.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's all.
Like they did make the Elite Eight.
No, I'm saying they decided to wash Reggie's season away, basically.
Yeah.
They washed Zion's.
That's just like the 100-something wins Boeheim got taken away.
Yeah.
Exactly. Everyone knows they happened, so I always think it's stupid. Like when you look at the Heisman list and you see there's a year missing, we all know who that. Well, people who actually follow sports know.
Just put an asterisk by it. Yeah. No one cares after the actual season, so what's the point?
I just find it funny that it's now just coming out also, like after the season's over,
especially after Duke is Nike sponsored. Although he won't be getting any PGs, I don't think. Strictly Kyrie Irving's for that boy.
Think so.
Either that or Zion ones.
Joe Lunardi has come out with his way too early bracketology picks.
Oh yeah.
I heard everyone's hot on Michigan State being the best team next year. What does Lunardi think?
Yep.
He has them number one overall.
Number one overall. I mean, I get it, but I don't.
I don't get it with Winston leaving.
Mm-hmm.
What else did they have? Just a good sum of parts?
I think it's more or less just the brand name right now. I mean, with all these early season polls and everything.
Plus, it's easy to just plug in Izzo to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm. He might make it.
25% chance.
Any other what are the other one seeds? That's
Virginia, Michigan, and Duke, of course.
Duke.
That Brazakis for Michigan's leaving.
Is he?
I think.
And then Trey Jones is staying, right, Kevin?
Yep.
I heard he wanted to do what his brother did and actually get a championship.
Probably. I don't blame him.
Trey Jones was that good to leave anyway.
He would have been a lottery pick, I think.
I'm going to throw it out there that I don't think Cam Reddish is either. I think they both should stay. Well, I mean, one is, but I think Cam should join them.
That's just like O'Shea Brissett.
Yeah.
Is he leaving or what? Is he testing the waters?
He's testing the waters at least. Oh, also, Syracuse Georgetown at 11. That'll be interesting if that happens.
Mac. Return to the Mac.
What was it? Boeheim says the offense should be a lot better next season. Less drivey.
Yeah, they're going to fire threes next year.
Yep. We'll see if that actually happens, though. I mean,
they can.
He said his offense was going to be better last year, too.
That's why I didn't say anything, because I feel like I've heard it like 5 years in a row.
Yeah. So
I haven't seen them have a good offense in quite a while.
Not since
The
Johnny.
only time they have a good offense is when they can get out and run, and when they have good shooters.
Gillian? Maybe Tyler Ennis era?
Yeah.
I feel like that was the last time I felt confident about their offense.
I don't think they ever run good half-court offense.
Definitely not. They got a running gun or
for a little while, I thought when he brought in, when I say he, Jim Boeheim, when he brought in Derek Coleman and John Wallace to help work with his big men, I saw a huge development in Rick Jackson, and I thought they did good going down low to him and actually initiating some offense out of the post.
Yeah, when they had good big guys.
When they had him and then Rakeem Christmas, they developed pretty well by Christmas's fourth year. I mean, he ended up being in the NBA and played a few years.
Yeah.
So that goes back to my problem. I told you, Kevin, I had with Boeheim.
They did just sign a big guy, so
I think Boeheim himself is not good at developing his talent, but I think when he gets other people to come in and help him out, that seems to work. So
just bring in Eton Thomas and they'll be fine.
I think they need to bring in someone that played offense at a high level. Carmelo's out of a job.
Pretty good.
Hire him.
I don't think Carmelo's the guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say Carmelo's the me personality.
He knows how to play the game though at a high level compared to everyone else.
Yeah,
that just goes back to the same way they play. It'd just be ISO ball. Like you act like Carmelo knows how to play in an offense. Like
you don't think he knows how to play in a motion offense?
No.
Being in the NBA, you don't think he ever learned anything?
No. It's clear he didn't.
Do you watch Carmelo at all? His whole career,
he doesn't play that way doesn't mean he doesn't know how.
Well, why would you? If
Derek Fisher knows how to run the triangle when he went to other teams, he wasn't running the triangle. Does he all of a sudden not know how to do it?
How do you know he knows how to run it?
Because he did it for so many years and they won.
Exactly, he did it. Carmelo never ran these offenses. Carmelo never did it.
That OKC offense that he struggled in, but nonetheless was not an ISO offense.
I'm not even saying that the offenses that he was in were meant to be ISO offenses, but when Carmelo gets the ball, it's ISO. The ball stops. It never. He's not in an offense that he's moving the ball around. The ball gets to Carmelo, and on any team that he's been on, the ball stops. And now let's wait and see what Carmelo's going to do. That's the way his career was.
I think he can do it.
It's not my first pick. I'd find somebody else. But that's pretty much it. We'll probably, talk a little bit about
maybe
leaving.
Draft or recruiting.
Who's leaving for the NBA, recruiting. I know Gonzaga's have a top 5 recruiting class coming in this year.
Penny Hardaway already did his job. Sealed up the number one.
And we'll see what happens. It'll be fun to keep an eye on.
Memphis make noise in the American League with that guy. They made a little run in the tournament.
We've seen
in their tournament, the American tournament.
We've seen these.
I was gonna say, when did we start talking about baseball?
Yes.
We've seen these top recruits though go to like smaller schools,
Like
like
Ben
Ben
Simmons.
Simmons going to LSU. What's his face? Went to Missouri.
Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah. But his argument, he didn't really play most of the year.
And Michael Porter hasn't even done anything in the NBA.
So,
Ben Simmons is at least a player.
And then Markelle Fultz, Washington.
Yeah. Oof. Yikes.
So I'm not convinced that the one player is going to put Memphis over the top. We'll see if Penny can get the rest of the team to rally around him.
Kevin Durant made Texas a little run. But I'm also talking maybe a top 2 player in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
Memphis and Joe Lunardi is 9. So that'll be.
Oh, making the tournament next year because of it.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's all high on Memphis right now.
We'll see. Moving on to the professionals here, the NBA. Playoffs are just about all set. I don't know, is there still room to move?
It would be in the East. I know the West is set. The East, there is movement. It's going to be Detroit, Charlotte, or Miami.
I know Boston locked up at 4 seed.
Yep. Well, they're all locked. Orlando's in. They won their division. At 41-40, they won the division. Solid. East is sad. I don't even know what to say.
Detroit's the only one that can move out.
Yeah. That's the only position not locked. The West is locked.
Yeah, but are all the matchups set? That's what I don't.
Yes.
Because Brooklyn, Orlando.
The West is all set, right? Oh no, because San Antonio Clippers have the same record.
That's what I'm saying. Like all these teams.
The West is not
I don't
set.
think. I don't think the
East
matchups
is
are
pretty
completely
much
The
set.
teams are almost set, and then the matchups, no, they are not set. There's movement.
The East is pretty much set. Minus.
So I was gonna make
that
a
8
bracket
seed.
today that I was like, I don't even know who
The East is pretty much set.
I guess Brooklyn and Orlando. I forgot about them.
Oh, as far as moving, yeah, back
Yeah.
and forth.
I think 1 through 5 is pretty much set.
Yep.
And then,
Plug in.
Either way, I'm going to throw it out there. Brooklyn and Orlando are surprising to me. I actually would expect Detroit to be the 6 and a lot of those other teams fighting. When we talked in the beginning of the year, I had Washington and Miami in the playoffs, and they're both, well, Washington's out. Miami has a small chance. I don't know how you could be that bad with Bradley Beal and John Wall. I don't get it.
I don't know how they went from being like a 4 or 5 in the East to like they're not even relevant in the East anymore.
No.
Nothing really changed other teams.
Mm-mm. Brooklyn's kind of been the story.
Yeah.
Lakers traded away D'Angelo Russell, and he becomes an all-star.
Hey, now you're an all-star.
So playoffs start Saturday. Should be interesting. I'm always excited
Trae Young misses the playoffs this year.
this year. Be the only year.
Why, once they draft Zion?
Nope.
No, they're gonna get Reddish.
No.
Yeah.
God, no.
You say no, but your lips say yes.
Hope they draft Rui. That'll be a diehard Atlanta Hawks fan.
That'll be your team of the future for sure.
Mm-hmm. Kyle Korver wrote a nice little piece. I didn't get a chance to read it yet, but wrote a nice little piece at the Players Tribune about
Yeah.
white privilege.
Yeah, he spoke a little bit. I read the article and was wondering where it was going in the beginning. He talked about playing on Atlanta with Thabo Sefolosha and the incident where Thabo was taken down by the cops that night and they broke his leg and he ended up suing the police department and won. But Kyle was saying that him and Thabo were really good friends on the team and they actually hung out outside of basketball, like legit friends, not just working friends. But when he heard the news that Thabo was arrested, said he admitted that his first thoughts were, one, why was he out so late at night? What possibly could have been like positive about him being out that late? And two, his first thought wasn't, is he okay? What happened? It was, what was he doing wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, that's something that that's how white people think. And then he was explaining, because now he's on Utah, and you just had the Russ situation.
Not to mention the whitest state in the union.
Yeah, and how he was talking about how there is a huge problem with what the fans are being allowed to say to the players. And Kyle was one of the ones in the locker room that just said what's been going on, not even just in Utah and the other arenas, is starting to get out of control and out of hand. And as a white person, hearing other white people say these things to the black athletes, and knowing that there was some prejudice in his own that he had to learn and get over, that it's time to wake up and get on their side and really force the NBA to do something about it and see what they can do. It was a good piece of writing. Hopefully Kyle Korver gets the ball rolling and some other white athletes in the league help, because it's probably going to take that to make something happen.
Right. Yeah.
It was a good piece.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
I heard a lot of good
check it out.
Good things about it. Some other drama in the NBA countdown world.
This was the biggest drama of the week in the
Everybody
NBA
loves
world.
some drama.
Not even the playoffs. Nothing to do with the playoffs this week.
Dwayne Wade finishing up his career here. Some people, so the NBA countdown crew decided to have a little this or that type of deal, which they stole from us, by the way.
Yeah.
And the question got brought up about Dwayne Wade or Paul Pierce as the better career. And Paul Pierce, without even thinking, without having to think, said him hands down. No argument.
What was his argument? That Wade had better players?
And his argument was, that Wade he said, if I had Shaq in his prime, or which Shaq wasn't in his prime then, but Shaq was still dominating then.
That was like the back end of Shaq's prime. That was probably the last year of Shaq's prime.
Yeah, because I think after that he went to the Celtics.
He went down.
And,
the Suns, he had like a little rejuvenation because of the good weather. And he was back down after he went to Cleveland.
Or if he had Bosh and LeBron in their prime, that he would have won like 5 or 6 championships. He also said that if he had his big three, Kevin Garnett and himself, obviously, and Ray Allen, all in their prime, because they were
at the end,
kind of more towards the end, that they would have won more championships. I mean, it's a good argument. I don't think Wade was exactly. I mean, Wade's how long ago did Paul Pierce retired? Not that long ago.
No.
So I don't think that they were like really at that different points of their career. The only thing was that Wade got younger players to play with him, where Pierce got pretty much older or same age players to play with him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Pierce is definitely more clutch. I think Pierce could.
I think what looks good on Wade's career is, one, the year with Shaq, Wade was the star of that team. He was the driving force in the playoffs. He led that team.
But does he win it without Shaq?
I don't know. But either way, he was the alpha on that team. And then what looks even better is LeBron's first year in Miami. Wade was better than him. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, shit.
But they didn't win it that first year.
No. That's when they lost to Dallas. They're going to have to learn that LeBron's going to have to end up being the alpha. Wade's not letting him be the guy, but Wade was better than LeBron at that point. And then
was Wade better than LeBron, or?
I think he was. And he didn't want to let someone, he didn't want like the newer person to come up and take it from him, but he realized the next year if he had to, if they were going to win.
That's my argument, is I think that, I don't know if it was necessarily that
Wade was better than LeBron, but Wade was just kind of holding LeBron back. That's my only argument. I don't know. I think LeBron was still the better player.
I look at it this way too. They're two different positions, so it's hard to.
But it was Wade's team regardless. So
No, I mean Wade and Pierce are two different positions, so it's hard to argue a shooting guard versus a small forward. Because Wade is arguably top 5 shooting guard all time. And Pierce, if you start going through small forwards, is maybe top 10. It gets tough.
yeah, no, it definitely does.
Maybe it just says all the talent that's gone through the small forward position, but
I don't know. Pierce is definitely one of my favorite players ever.
you're a Boston fan, and he's
But I think it is
in our generation, he's been the face of Boston, and to me, he still is. There isn't someone that has stepped up and taken that.
True.
Because Kyrie, I can't call that. He spent too much of his career in Cleveland. He's going to always be a Cavs, really.
Unless he
Tatum,
unless he played the rest of his career
and wins. If he wins something. Right now, Tatum is the one that can be the future.
Tatum probably won't be there.
I don't think he will be.
He'll be traded. But yeah, that's a pretty good argument. Any input, Kevin, on who you think
Who I think what?
is the better NBA player?
I would think
career-wise?
Wade. Just I don't know. I just thought he was good coming out. Like he was surprisingly good, and he got Shaq, like you guys were saying, on the back half of his career, not during his prime.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he had help for the other ones, but I mean, what was it? Bosch was pretty much done after. I mean,
Well, yeah, once they finished, once LeBron left, Bosch was pretty much done.
Not by his own choice, though.
No.
He had medical shit going on. I just think I also like to compare at their peak. Wade at his absolute best, the best version of Dwayne Wade that you've ever seen, and the best version of Paul Pierce that you've ever seen. Do you think it's even?
I think it's even.
You do?
Yeah.
So I think Wade had more capability of taking a game over because I thought he was a better defender than Paul Pierce and probably a little more explosive athletically than Paul Pierce. So I'm not saying it's a blowout. I just slightly would favor Wade at their peaks.
You know me. I like scorers. Paul Pierce could score. I will.
You know, Wade can score too.
I don't think.
But he was more the slasher style because he wasn't a shooter. Even in his prime, he actually developed a jumper. But I'm sure Kevin and I probably, you watch Big East basketball. I was going to say probably have a little bias because I know I remember him at Marquette and I was like, who the hell is this dude? And then he got Marquette all the way to the Final Four. And I'm like, who's Dwayne Wade?
I didn't really pay attention to Wade when he was at Marquette.
And then when he came into the league, and then it was still like, oh my gosh, Dwayne Wade's really legit in one of the best draft classes ever.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think, like you said, it's hard to argue two different positions.
That's the hardest part for me.
But
if you want to argue like James Worthy and Paul Pierce, I think it's tougher. Me personally, I like Paul Pierce better, but I think you're going to get a lot of old timers that will be really mad at that comment. So obviously LeBron's the greatest small forward, so we're not going to argue that one, but there's gaps.
Yeah.
Ooh, did you guys see that poll that was released on ESPN?
I heard some about it.
The players voted 78% that Michael was the greatest of all time.
Michael?
Yeah. And
then it was between LeBron and 15. Kobe for number 2, and they were at 11 and 10% or something like that.
It was really low.
They also voted on who the most overrated player in
in the league was, and I think it was Draymond and Russ.
I think
Russ?
Yeah. Dude's average
Dude just
double
did
double.
it again. 3 years in a
3
row.
years in a row, but he's overrated.
got no respect.
I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Michael, the GOAT himself, compare all you guys who voted, the 78%. Michael Jordan said out of everyone in the league today, Russell Westbrook's the only guy that you could take out of this today's NBA and throw back into the old generation and would still do what he could do. So the GOAT himself anoints Russ the GOAT.
So Green and Westbrook tied with 17% of the vote.
That's crazy. I'm not even a Russ fan. But...
Well, 3 players tied for second: Jimmy Butler, Karl Anthony Towns, and Andrew Wiggins.
For what? What was that for?
That was for most overrated player.
Oh, Karl Anthony Towns and Wiggins were in that list?
Yeah, tied for second.
Oh, with Jimmy. I actually thought James Harden was going to be put number 1 because I know everyone thinks he's just a volume shooter. So LeBron was overrated, but at the same time voted one of the GOATs. It's interesting.
You want me to do my top 5?
Yeah.
So
Top
now that
5.
the playoffs are pretty much here, this probably will be my last one until next year. And I figured what better way than doing the top 5 teams I think that are going to win the NBA Finals, with one being the most likely.
Okay.
So, number 5. We'll start with a little homer pick of the Philadelphia 76ers. Not too far of a reach this year, thankfully. But still a reach. It's depending on if they stay healthy. If Embiid stays healthy throughout the playoffs, I think they have an honest shot of at least making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But it'll be interesting to see if they can make it back to the finals, since I think 2001 was the last time with Allen Iverson versus LA. Back in that fun era. Number 4, I feel like is a team that's been overlooked all season, the Denver Nuggets. They've been at the top of the Western Conference, or at least top 2, pretty much all season. They're having a little bit of a slide towards the end, which is why I have them so low, going 5-5 in the last 10.
My problem with the Nuggets is when the game's on the line.
That's
Let's say it's a game 7. Who's taking that shot? Who do you trust to make that shot on the Nuggets?
Honestly, don't even know who's on the Nuggets.
Then I shouldn't tell you.
Jokic.
Right. I mean, Jamal Murray, Gary, the kid from Michigan State that can shoot lights out, actually. Gary Harris, I think is his name. Jokic. And then I start to trail off. I don't even know Denver's starting 5.
I would either do probably Jamal Murray or Jokic.
My problem with Denver. Anyways.
They're going to be the team to watch out for. Just saying.
They're a good team.
Yeah.
But I don't see someone taking a game over.
And maybe that's what's needed nowadays.
Could be. I mean, Detroit Pistons were able to win that way a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Once in a while. I mean, like the Spurs had Tim Duncan, but I mean, they still had a team. No one too powerful, I guess. Number 3, mainly because they're led by the one and only James Harden, Houston Rockets. I think if they finally can get by Golden State, they'll run away with the final, unless they run into one of my top 2 teams here.
See, my problem with Houston is if the game's on the line, who is going to take that final shot?
The boring James Harden, that's who. I'm just thankful
Overrated, James.
Overrated.
Overrated James Harden. And number 2, always got to be scared of them when they're in the playoffs, Golden State. Honestly, they could either be number 1, but my number 1 is got to be my number 1 for most of this year, the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis can do it. I believe in Giannis.
They sealed the deal as the best record, 60 over 60 wins.
So they do protect their home court. They're 33-7 at home, so that's what you got to do. Same with Denver.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Bucks and the Golden State.
Well,
I don't really want to see Golden State at all, but if
what
I
about
had to.
Bucks versus Houston.
At least I know I don't have to see the Cavs and Golden State this year, so that's cool.
At least
That
we don't
is
have to
nice.
worry about LeBron James.
We are done with that era. That is going to be a
Oh.
weird-looking era in the history books.
Yeah.
You just see Cleveland, Golden State, Cleveland, Golden State.
Thank God.
What was this whole Cleveland team about? Well,
Yeah.
that was LeBron and then some other guys.
Can't wait till they get a whole bunch of more draft picks and the Broncos. Coming back, Cleveland.
One more time.
One more run, Cleveland.
This one for the road.
I just turned 40, Cleveland. Come back.
Baby, come back.
His body's already breaking down.
I mean, they sat him out for, what, the last
fine.
6 games?
I think his body's breaking down.
Yep.
He's fine. He's fine.
He's not doing the World Cup this year, so...
Moving on to
He's
NFL news.
Whoop, whoop.
A little bit of drama in the NFL.
Drama.
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
Probably 3 out of our 4 topics are drama.
Drama.
DeMarco Lawrence. Marcus.
Not
DeMarcus
drama.
Lawrence.
The one that isn't drama.
I was going to say, not drama.
Drama over, I guess. He was holding out on the Cowboys and everyone was getting nervous. What's he going to do? The Cowboys need him to win.
Was it he talking about pulling a...
Oh, Bell,
Yeah.
sitting out. Pay me or I'm sitting. I want long-term, big-time money.
So
Bam.
Did he get his long-term contract?
Yeah, he got the whole thing.
100 mil.
Jerry
60
knew. I think
guaranteed.
Jerry knew his back was kind of to the wall on that. There's no other top 5 defensive ends that he was gonna get.
All right.
When you have unless you're the Oakland Raiders, you're not going to get rid of a defensive lineman. That's
Not that
good.
changes the game like that. Yeah. So, anyways, good for the Cowboys. They're still listed. I was looking at Vegas odds. Vegas has them quite high for odds to win the Super Bowl.
They're still the Cowboys. They're not going to win.
They'll still mess it up somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know what they're going to
They
sign
still have a
Dak.
subpar quarterback.
I want to know what kind of contract Dak is going to get because he's the greatest quarterback since sliced bread, according to Jerry Jones. So, I mean,
And Corey Vanderveer.
No, I want to know what you pay Zeke because he's next after Dak. You can't pay Dak all that money and then have any room for Zeke. But the NFL has proven, in my opinion, that running backs aren't worth paying.
They probably won't pay him. They didn't pay DeMarco Murray.
Zeke is considerably better than him. Don't speak blasphemy around here.
DeMarco Murray was a stud, though, when he was.
Well, for like 2 years.
So who's to say Zeke isn't just a stud for 2 years?
He's already got 3 down. 2-time leading rusher of the NFL in 3 years.
Still a bum.
So I could only find as of March 13th for Super Bowl odds. Patriots obviously first, Kansas City second, Rams third, New Orleans Saints fourth, and the Bears fifth.
Bears.
Who do you think's number 6?
The boys.
Nope.
The Eagles.
Cleveland.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
Cleveland
they made
did
some
jump.
moves.
Cleveland did
Actually,
jump
that's a
up
tie for 5th. Cleveland, Chicago, and the Chargers are all tied for 5th with Philadelphia soon after.
Are the boys in the top 10? No? Nope. Hard? No.
Yeah, I think they might be number 10.
Hmm.
But that's as of March 13th, so let's see if I can find anything sooner. Oh, here we go.
Anyways.
Here we go. Damn it, some open. Cleveland 5th. Packers. Well, how are the Packers ahead of Dallas? 25 to 1
Just
odds.
have a quarterback.
Yeah, but they don't have anyone to throw to.
Yeah, they have nothing else.
So a quarterback, I'd still take that quarterback over not having a quarterback.
You'd rather have Rodgers and nothing rather than Amari Cooper, Zeke, and an offensive line and nothing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I could throw any receiver in there and he's gonna do fine.
Devontae Adams isn't a chump.
Who would you rather have, Rodgers or Wentz? That's the true question.
A-Rod.
Yeah.
For me.
For me, too.
At this point in their careers?
Yeah. Today to start
Today.
this season, and just this season, not
If it was like
Forever.
one of those Madden mock drafts.
yeah.
You're really
You
thinking
try
way
to
too
build a
hard
team.
for
Someone
this.
said, "You're a GM. I need a Super Bowl this year," and you could get Rodgers or Wentz for the same price. Who are you taking?
Wentz.
Wow. And you called Corey high on Dak. Jesus.
I'm not even that. I think Dak is good. I just think that he gets bashed. Like everyone thinks he sucks, and I don't think he sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's middle of the road.
He gets the job done compared to like Winston.
Compared to if someone who has to watch Andy Dalton every fucking year, I would rather have Dak Prescott.
As someone that has to watch Winston every game.
Yeah, Dak's better than him too. I mean, he's not that bad. You can win with him, obviously.
Not that good.
He also has the best record over the last 3 years.
Right
total.
now, Winston is
winningest
the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It's not that good.
Just not getting the job done, that's for sure.
No.
Either
At least he won a
GM
playoff
for
game.
Tampa
That
Bay.
made Dallas fans happy for a little while.
Yeah.
I would love a playoff game.
12
12
me
years.
too, Kevin.
12 years.
I get tormented with mediocrity.
What's mediocrity? I get torn with failure. All right. Sorry.
Should have kept Deshaun Jackson.
I didn't realize this was because he did this. Because he helped James out.
You have to be able to throw the deep ball, man.
Speaking of wide receivers, Antonio Brown and Juju Smith keeping their loving relationship going, even though they've grown apart now.
Brown basically blaming last season's failures on Juju's fumble. That's what happened.
Is that what he called them out for?
Yeah. Said he fumbled in that game against the Saints. When we had that game wrapped up, we should have won that game, and our whole season would have been different. Would have made the playoffs. Juju sent back just an emoji with his eyes rolling underneath the comment that Brown had sent out. And then Brown came back and poked the bear a little more. And then Juju put like some quote, I think it's a Mark Twain quote about when a fool's being foolish, let the fool be a fool or something like that. And then like that was basically the back and forth. So we know there's no love lost between the two of them. There was a lot of animosity supposedly in the locker room. The Steelers every year give their MVP of the team. Juju won it this year, and Brown had a huge problem with that.
Well, what was even better was then Antonio Brown like hurt his own case by tweeting out a direct message he got from Juju Smith-Schuster when he was playing at USC. And it said, "Oh, I respect you. I admire you. You know, what can I do to be on your level someday?" And then he put the mic drop emoji underneath that. Like he tweeted that out. Like, what are you trying to prove? Like, just because he had you as a role model for some reason?
And he reached it. I mean, last year their stats were really similar. That's the whole thing. That's why they let you go, dude. They have somebody who's almost as good. He's not better because you got to see it. I mean, for Antonio Brown to do this for like 8 years, the longevity is crazy. So I'm not going to say Juju's better, but he's on that level the last two.
And Juju's got to be able to do it on his own.
Yeah,
without having Antonio Brown.
Yeah, we got to see what he can do this year.
Antonio Brown has since taken that down and posted that the media is just blowing things out of proportion.
Of course they are.
No, because they wanted to settle. Oh, it was fun while it lasted.
What happened with Josh Rosen here?
Big news out of that one is the Cardinals recently had a media day. It was open workouts. The team was openly working out for the media, except when the offense took the field, it was closed down. Under a lot of speculation of what was going on, Rosen was there, but the media was a little bit baffled why they weren't able to see him. So then they obviously asked all the players after the workouts what was going on, what was happening. And all the players, instead of the thought was all the players are magically going to all of a sudden going to say Rosen isn't our guy. We can't wait for a new quarterback. But the opposite happened. I would say the only one that wasn't convincing was David Johnson. He said, well, right now Rosen's our guy, but this is a business. So that kind of left the door open to maybe he doesn't like Josh Rosen. But a lot of the defensive players, Budda Baker, said that he saw a ton of leadership and Rosen on the outside looking in while the offense was doing their thing. Rosen had total command of the team. Everyone was listening. He definitely voices his opinions. And then Chandler Jones said that pretty much uttered the same sentiment that he really is a good leader and he has good leadership qualities. He is hard hard on his teammates. He demands, perfection. Mm-hmm. The only problem with that is he is only on his second year, and to kind of demand that you have to not be as bad as he was. Not perfection, but you need to show some growth of your own. But Chandler Jones thinks he's going to get there. So the teammates, at least his defense, has his back. We'll see what the draft, what it entails. Do they take Kyler?
Be interesting.
And what do you get for Rosen? Because at that point, you might as well trade him.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense to trade him. But at the same time, I mean, is it so bad to sit Kyler Murray right away and let Josh Rosen go out? And if Josh Rosen isn't getting it done, then you throw Kyler Murray in and see what he's got.
To me, Josh Rosen's more like the prototypical NFL quarterback. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still struggling to see Kyler Murray even be successful. I don't see it.
I don't know either.
I think you got a stud defensive end that we just talked about are super important to have, and Nick Bosa just sitting there for you. And you're going to say, no, we're good. We saw Joey Bosa. Kevin knows because he somewhat watches the Chargers. When healthy, Joey's a stud. His brother's no different, but actually can stay healthy.
Coincidentally, I think they both had foot injuries this year.
Nick's last season, he did end up getting hurt, but it wasn't major. He could have came back, but then he just decided, screw it. I'm just going to sit out and just be healthy for the NFL.
Go make money.
Yep.
It's fine.
So that's the Rosen. That's what's going on. What do you think? Do you think it's smart to just draft Kyler and have both of them?
I don't like the whole idea of bringing somebody in, starting them right away. You do see some success stories, but at the same time, you see some not so great stories. Like, pretty sure David Carr, when he came in the league, started right away.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you're not on a quality team where you have good pieces around you and you get thrown into just this losing mindset, 'cause you're just losing all the time, then it's hard to gain that confidence that a quarterback needs to be able to go out there and actually perform well.
But then you see someone like Deshaun Watson. Yeah, he didn't start game one. Tom Savage did, but game two on his rookie year, he got the start, and they were kind of pathetic. But look what he did.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's different for every player, and I think that it doesn't hurt to have a player sit and learn for a little bit. I'm not saying they've got to sit for multiple years or even for the whole year, like I said, like if they drafted Kyler Murray, if they were really set on thinking that Kyler Murray could be the guy, or if they're completely set on maybe Josh Rosen isn't the guy that we thought he was, then yeah, take that chance and draft Kyler Murray, but you don't have to necessarily get rid of Rosen just because you drafted Kyler Murray.
Right.
It's not like you're paying a ton of money for either of them at that point.
They're both on rookie contracts.
Right.
You can
So
I think what they might do is have Josh play a lot of, probably half, the second half of every preseason game, just so he could prove his worthy and try and use him as trade bait if they do go after Kyler Murray.
That's the other thing there too, is obviously if you get an offer for him, because some quarterback's going to go down this year, and in the preseason it always happens.
My only thing with Josh Rosen is I don't feel like he got a fair shake because.
Well, either did the head coach at Arizona at the beginning.
I know. I just don't think Rosen had much to throw to. You have an aging Larry Fitzgerald and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
I know David Johnson is supposedly a good receiving running back and wasn't even able to do that. But everyone's saying also Arizona's offensive line is one of the worst. So what do you want him to do?
I mean, he completed his 55% of his passes last year, which is pretty good in the NFL. If you're a decent quarterback, you gotta have that high of a percentage, and and that's without an offensive line, as you were saying, Corey. So I mean, I
just like that he's 6'5", stands over the pocket well. He's got a big arm, supposedly.
All right, John Elway, calm down.
He's got a big arm. And he is really arrogant. That's well known about him and full of himself. And I think sometimes if your teammates like you, well, we talked about someone where it can go the other way. But if you're arrogant and your teammates are still willing to rally behind you, and your arrogance is more like a confidence, you're confident in your abilities, you're confident you can win, I think that's a great thing. I guess if you're arrogant and you're a jerk like Jay Cutler. If Josh Rosen is a Jay Cutler, then yeah, they aren't going to go anywhere because Jay Cutler is arrogant, probably in the wrong way, rubbed people the wrong way, but the same kind of prototype where he's tall, had a huge arm, a lot of talent that just
couldn't win.
Pan out. Rosen is the next Jay Cutler. I don't know. And if he's that, then he's quite average. He'll never be bad. Jay Cutler wasn't bad, but he was very average.
Yeah.
But got paid like a star.
Because he had that one good year in Denver.
I mean, you got Kirk Cousins. Look at Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
At least Kirk Cousins puts up numbers.
Better numbers than Jay.
Was he in Michigan State's locker room, I think? Yeah. And Mahomes was in Texas Tech trying to ramp them up before the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wrong person for Michigan State to pick. I mean, come on. All right, guys. So this is what you got to do to get paid.
So speaking of arrogant quarterbacks.
Oh, I thought we were going to NASCAR.
Aaron Rodgers gets a report written up by the Bleacher Report that his teammates dislike him. He's all about money and not a great leader and all this other stuff. And he drove McCarthy out of there. It was pretty tough report, and then Aaron Rodgers did respond yesterday quite strongly, saying that if he was all about money, why would he stay in Green Bay? He's not getting paid the most there. There's plenty of other opportunities. And as far as McCarthy goes, he can't make the decisions. He's not the highest up person. And as far as his teammates not liking him, he thinks that's all bullcrap. That's all made up because he hasn't heard anything.
What the hell? Are you guys looking at this screen?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's played through some injuries too. So what do we believe? Aaron Rodgers really is a bad guy because his family doesn't talk to him.
Well, I don't think it's his whole family, is it? Isn't it just his brother or something?
And his parents.
Just remember, Stefan, he's dating Danica Patrick.
He might have cousins and stuff that talk to him. And he is dating a badass woman, as he said. I just think he's a jerk. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Maybe the money did get to his head. I don't know.
I heard he was this way before.
He was.
The money.
I'll never forget the on camera when he was greeting people. He wasn't pleasant. The one guy said, as a fan, came up to get his autograph and goes, "Oh, you aren't as tall as I thought you'd be in person." I don't appreciate it when people say that. Dead serious. Oh, sorry, Aaron. Like, but the fan on like his back heel, like, dude.
So he's gotten it more than once.
He was a little self-conscious
about being short.
Well, you guys would still want him on your team, so.
Yeah, he's
super
talented.
Well, yeah.
He's also probably the most talented quarterback ever.
There's a reason why he's a dick.
It doesn't really matter if he's the worst teammate.
Nope.
No.
Nope. Throwing it out the window.
All right, moving on to our favorite segment. NASCAR.
Finally, we had a freaking good race. Excitement, crashes. The last 3 weeks, boring. But history rang true. The Busch brothers are known to dominate Bristol. Kyle Busch wins. Kurt Busch comes in second.
Did Cory take Kyle Busch is the question. He picked him.
I did pick Kyle Busch to win the race.
Picked him to win.
And he did win.
Did not take him.
No, I couldn't, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I did pick Kevin Harvick to win this week, and I could take him, but I'm not. I think Harvick's going to jump over the hump and get it done at Richmond. Richmond's it's a 3/4 instead of a half mile. So it's a slightly bigger track, but still considered a short track. Should, again, be exciting. These short tracks are fun. It's really just about who has the best driving skills, and when it's all about that, we all knew who the best driver is right now. You could see Kyle Busch just win again. So having said that, moving into this week, Stefan has first pick because he took Boyer, who had a good race and who does well in the short tracks. He's one of the elites. He got Stefan 42 points. I didn't want Stefan to jump too much on me, so I had to pull the trigger on an elite, going against what I said about taking 2 in 5 races, but I did it. Took Jimmy Johnson, and he got me 33, but I still lost 9. Kevin had Eric Jones, who got Stefan and I 33 points each, but he crashed early, so he only gave Kevin 13. Suarez finished 5th last week at Bristol. Stefan's taking him. Suarez is a good short track driver.
Will the streak continue?
At this point, I'm just going to say book it. I'm giving up.
Spoiler.
So that puts it on me. I can't take another top tier. You aren't anyways. So
you can. You don't.
I don't want to.
He's getting nervous now.
I don't want to. I'm not taking Harvick, even though I could.
He is a race away from having 1 point and you taking first.
I'm okay, because at some point I'm going to have to use drivers that aren't great. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually going to take a lower tier and take Newman.
Just making sure I didn't take him already. Boom.
Ooh. So we got Penske with Joe Logano. You got Stuart Haas with Suarez, and you got Newman with Chip Ganassi. All pretty big teams. We'll see what Newman did place in the top 10 in Bristol.
At this point, I just need points. So
actually, all 3 of our guys placed in the top 10 at Bristol. They're all good short track drivers, so we'll see what we can do.
Stefan, anytime you want to get like a 5, I'll be happy.
Well, Kevin this week is trying to catch up because he definitely pulled the trigger while we just picked mid tiers.
Yep. After last race, I got to catch up. I don't like this. I dug myself a hole last year.
You weren't worried about that one that you got. Oh, no, you did pull the trigger, though, after
Yeah,
that one.
right after you got a 60.
Right after, I got a 60. So evened it out. That's my new strategy. Anytime I have a low score, I got to pull the trigger. Boom.
So what should I pull the
Anything
trigger?
below 20.
Well, you can do whatever you want right now.
You're like a...
Right now, the only one I'm really mad at is Blaney. I should have gotten way more than 15 out of Blaney. And you got a 42 out of him. And he's been racing really, really well. I pulled the trigger too early. Didn't let him catch his stride.
2 races too early.
2 races too early. That's
Well,
okay, because you're waiting on Larson, and he only gets worse as the year goes on. So I'm just waiting for you to use them. I saw Kevin and I took them early, which was good strategy.
Well, now that you told me that, maybe I'm going to use it up. Soon.
I mean, Kyle Larson's pretty good at...
He is.
I'm
He's
good with
actually,
Richmond.
Vegas has him as third on odds, favorite to
I'm
win.
good with Suarez.
Alright.
Moving on to first major golf tournament of the year. The Masters. It starts Thursday. The best golf tournament. Might be the only golf tournament.
It's the best. Kind of like the Wimbledon of tennis.
It's the
It
same
is.
course every year.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. That's why I like it.
Continuity.
You know,
Augusta.
they make changes to it, yes, but it's the same location.
They only have a few different hole placements, right, on each hole.
Like sometimes they'll take down a tree.
Okay.
I don't know what. the
I
deal
thought there
is
was
with
like
this.
3 or 4 different flag positions at each green.
Oh,
Sometimes they'll turn a dog leg left into a dog leg right.
Ooh.
Just kidding.
They don't
Can't
ever
do
do
that.
that.
Can't do that.
Stefan and I played on one course that was supposed to be pro-like once together, and we both shot like 130. So, mad
You guys did
props.
well.
Actually, I
When
think
it's at
we,
Augusta, we'd probably shoot at least
400?
I'm thinking
we max out. We
150.
180. 10 per hole.
10 per hole.
It's those par threes. That's where you gotta make up ground.
Yeah, that's not my forte.
So
I still
golf,
get tens
so
on
golf
par
picks, what are we
threes.
doing?
So, champion last year for our golf,
Which means you get first pick.
which I didn't get first pick.
Well,
Jason
I'm pretty sure you weren't gonna take.
Don't even know who the hell Gene
Yeah.
Woodland is. But yeah, you're right.
I didn't either. I had to confirm. I was like, "Is that
taking
the
McIlroy.
golfer you're taking?"
I'm taking Ricky Fowler. It's my always faithful.
DJ's my always faithful.
I was going to say, are you taking D or Z?
D. Put a D in front of that.
No,
for
he
me.
wants Zach Johnson.
Dude, Zach has a major. I think he has 2.
compared to Fowler.
I don't remember how to spell McElroy. Is it I?
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
I didn't know we were a spelling team.
That's not McElroy.
It must not be 2 because it does look weird. Hold on, I got it right here. MCLLROY.
Nope.
No, it's a capital I, isn't it?
Oh, it's ILROY. It's hard to see on this.
Yeah. Google kept it all lowercase for me, so.
Still looks weird. That
McElroy.
capital I. Capital I looks weird.
Third in the PGA right now. He's coming off of a win at Players Stadium, of course. So he's probably going to lose.
Probably losing.
It's usually how it happens.
Why's my Yikes red?
Oh, scary.
I thought I'd highlight it for you.
Oh,
Make it
thanks.
cool. But
So that's
before-
all we have for golf. And
Oh, this is my favorite part.
is it time for Bracket Boys?
Bracket
It's been so long.
Boys. It's been like a month. We're going to
Bracket
have a
Boys are
lot
back.
of brackets this summer. I got snack food, or Little Debbie snack food at least, Bracket Boys. Maybe if Stefan ever catches up on Game of Thrones, we can do a Game of Thrones Bracket Boys. I
Oh,
got
I'll catch
ideas
up
for
on
that.
it. Don't
He's
worry.
not catching up.
I'm catching up on it.
By April 14th.
I will be caught up by the time Game of Thrones ends.
All right. I was going to say,
Not by April 14th.
I will be surprised at that one. Starts this Sunday. Come on.
Oh. Got a lot of stuff going on.
Well, if Cory manages to call in next week, we'll have our spoiler version of Game of Thrones talk while you're in the bathroom or something.
Yeah. Or
Or
I guess I'll just permanently go to the bathroom. So yeah, we're moving on to our bracket boys here. Doing our top college basketball championship teams.
I do want to point out that we, on our own, thought of this segment, and then ESPN had to come out of nowhere and put some article with the 81 greatest.
Is that like a recent article?
Yeah,
yeah,
they just
came
did
out
it today after
yeah.
we had talked about doing it.
Wow. I thought it was like an older article.
No,
or something.
we came up with this segment on our own, and ESPN copied us for once.
Wow.
So they secretly follow
again. They copied us again.
Yeah.
We came up with bucket. We came up with this or that. Come on.
They've been copying us for a while. The other cool thing was that, and this wasn't even by like intention or anything. I don't think it was for me. It wasn't for me anyways, but we all picked different teams. It wasn't even like a repeat team.
I, on intention for one of mine, was Kevin took Kentucky 1996. That's what got me into college basketball in an older segment we talked about.
Yeah,
That
same.
was the team that made me watch.
No, but I meant like we didn't even pick like another team like in a different year. Like the same team in a different year. Like,
No, that's random. Yeah, that I didn't
like you
do.
could have picked North Carolina.
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah.
You know what team that I had and I took and replaced with Syracuse? I was surprised that didn't make Duke. Duke didn't make it.
Yeah, we don't have any
What
Duke.
none of us
None
took
of
Duke.
Duke teams.
I was gonna have Duke go one.
But when I looked at them and looked at it, it was easier once ESPN did do that article to get a read on them all.
yeah.
None of the Duke teams like stood out to me. They're all good, but I think looking at our 12, I think we do have 12 really good teams. So
How did Syracuse get a 9 seed?
I knew somebody was going to have an issue with it. This is how I did the rankings. Okay, so we said for the 4 buys, we want to do the 4,
The
2
newest
newest,
and the oldest.
2 oldest.
That's fine.
So that's how those came apart.
Mhm.
And then the way I did it was I just kept going. The matchups for the other ones was just like, so I went from like the 3rd oldest to the 3rd newest.
it just lined up that way.
Yeah, and so I
Okay.
just kept going down until I got to the middle,
That's
basically.
fine. All right. I just wanted to.
So that way we had like old teams versus new teams. It wasn't like an
You
old
can
team.
still
versus
probably
new team.
win the argument, Kevin. I haven't seen the brackets. So I don't know who you're lined up with.
I was just curious. I was just wondering because I had them.
There was
like,
it
2
wasn't like
seed.
based on like who I thought was better or anything. It was literally just based off of years.
All right. Well, with that being said, round 1.
So our 11 and 12 seed matchup is the 07 Florida Gators versus the 1973 UCLA Bruins.
Ooh, my
The
3rd pick
7 Gators, if I'm not mistaken, is the 2nd year, right?
The
Yes.
second year. Yep.
because they all came back. That's why I chose
Yep.
them.
They all came back and completed the last back-to-back title that we've seen.
Yep.
And they get matched up with a UCLA 1973 team. I believe that's a team I picked.
Corey's number 1 pick, according.
Yes,
I don't know.
because they were the first team to go undefeated in a regular season and win the championship. And also, they had an average margin of victory in the regular season by 22 points and an average margin of victory in the tournament of 10. No team was able to even come within 10 points of them. So and that was Walton's 2nd year. after he had just won the championship in '72, his rookie year. Thought it was hard to go against that UCLA team. I mean, 30-0, you won the national title. You didn't lose. I don't know what to say. Bill Walton may be the greatest college player ever. A lot of people think he is. In the national title game, that game, he did score 44 points. So, I mean, he's okay.
Played decent.
He's decent. I mean, we know my pick. We know Kevin's pick.
So it's on me.
It's pretty much on you, buddy.
Well,
I'll let Kevin, you can talk about the Florida a little bit. I know we didn't say too much.
I mean, like you said, it was the last back-to-back. They all came back because they knew they could win the championship, and I think that's why they hold a little special place in my heart.
Joakim
I
Noah.
was going to say, did you like any of those players? I liked Al Horford quite a bit.
Horford.
I liked Noah the first year. I didn't like him the second year. But, yeah. I mean, and I like Billy Donovan as a head coach.
He's a good coach. He's doing well with OKC.
He's doing all right.
This coach was
John Wooden.
John Wooden.
Yes, I know. I know who that was. We all know who that was.
I'm going to have to go with the GOAT of coaching.
Wooden.
Going UCLA.
We all get one series.
What's funny is UCLA, that team was number 3 on ESPN's list.
Yeah, they like the 72 team better.
Mm-hmm.
Walton's first year.
Moving on to, we'll go down to the 9-10 matchup. 03 Syracuse Orange versus the 1976 Indiana Hoosiers. Was this the Hoosier team that beat Syracuse?
No, that was 87.
Oh.
That would be interesting.
That would have been.
This Hoosiers had a 20-point win over the number 2 ranked UCLA in a season opener. They were tested in 2 overtime games, but they won because they went 32-0 and won the national championship. They were a product of Bobby Knight, often underrated in talent. They had Kent Benson, Scott May, Quinn Buckner, Bob Wilkerson, who were all selected number 11 or higher in the NBA draft.
Won by an average of 13 points in the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
Versus? What were they ranked on the ESPN list?
Number 2 team.
Oh, there you go.
Of all time.
That's why I can't find them.
But they're going against a Syracuse team that all 3 of us...
They were like 40-something.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to go because I would hope all 3 of us know enough about that team.
I don't even know who they are.
Oh, okay.
Never heard of Syracuse.
2003 Syracuse? Was that a good year?
Don't remember.
Maybe the GOAT freshman, Carmelo Anthony, comes in with a team of good parts.
Only
Jerry
one
McNamara, also
senior
a
on the
freshman.
team.
Queth Dwaney, a pretty good defender and good role player. Craig Forth, you just needed 10 points out of him, and they won. And
his career game came at the right time.
Yeah. And then, who was the other one? Was it Warwick?
Warwick was there.
Warwick was another freshman or sophomore.
And another NBA player who actually had a long career. So you had 2 NBA players on that team. One of the greatest college players, a lot of people think, and Carmelo, one of the greatest Syracuse players, and Jerry McNamara. Good team. They went against the Kansas team, Roy Williams' team. It was Roy Williams' last year at Kansas. He decided to go to North Carolina after that heartbreak.
That was the best post-game interview ever, too. I don't give a shit about North Carolina right now. I just care about those players. Whoops.
Oh, man.
I always like how they interviewed those coaches. Like, are you going to take the job? Like, dude, like, give them a chance to breathe. Like,
right.
they're going to be like, oh, yeah, these guys, bunch of losers. I'm going to the next team.
I'm out. Guys can't win a championship? Fuck that.
So anyways, what do we like? Syracuse or Indiana?
Well,
Are
you
they
already
both
know
your
my
picks,
pick.
Kevin?
No,
Indiana
I didn't
was
have
mine.
Indiana. Yeah. You already know my pick, so.
I should already know your pick then, right?
The anti-Syracuse.
Yeah, but I'm not. I think Carmelo really is the greatest freshman ever. I'm taking Syracuse.
I was going to say, is it just going to be a path of me versus Stefan along the way here? But he
No.
didn't take San Francisco. Wow.
Nope.
All right.
Moving on to 7-8 matchup. Michigan State 2000 versus North Carolina of 1982.
I think I have a
Michigan
fairly
State
good
with
read
the
on
team
these.
Cleaves.
Yep.
Yep.
Michigan State in 2000.
This is like what I remember starting to get like really into college basketball.
They had Mateen Cleaves and Mo Pete, right?
This
Yeah.
is also around the same time I started looking at Gonzaga.
This is
They had more.
the time I started to play a lot of NCAA March Madness.
Yeah.
That's why I included them, because they were the team to beat on that game, and you had to beat it in all-American mode.
So, I didn't know this about that team because I didn't pay close attention to Michigan State at the time. But Mateen Cleaves sat out the first part of the season, the first 13 games, and Michigan State went 9-4 without him. But they ended up the season 32-7, so they only lost 3 games when they had Cleaves. Like I just said, they were a different team without him. Every opponent lost by 9 points or more when he was on the floor. They had Morris Peterson and Charlie Bell and Mateen Cleaves, all from Flint, Michigan. I do remember that fact. They called them the Flintstones. Charlie Bell and Morris Peterson actually went on to have decent careers in the NBA. The Spartans were able to get past Florida to win it all.
They also beat
Why
Syracuse.
Team Cleaves didn't pan out?
Because he wasn't that good. He was a good college player.
They
He
beat,
wasn't athletic or anything.
they beat Syracuse in the Sweet 16. That's
And
when,
this,
that's when I hopped on the MSU bandwagon there that year. I was like, oh, because that was the year Syracuse came in with really high hopes, and then they lost 75-58 to Michigan State. I was like, all right.
so the 82 North Carolina team obviously holds a special place in my heart. You have Michael Jordan and James Worthy and Sam Perkins. Sam Perkins, a multiple All-Star. Michael Jordan, James Worthy, I mean, they're both Hall of Famers. But even with all that talent, they did rely on Michael Jordan to hit a clutch shot to get the win in the championship over Georgetown and Patrick Ewing, 63-62. That team went 32-2 that year.
Who's Michael Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, that's really the only reason I hold that team dear is Michael Jordan and that win and that shot. At that time, honestly, a lot of people thought James Worthy was the best player on the team, and a lot of people thought he was going to be the best NBA player. Obviously, things changed.
A little bit.
Not a lot. I mean, it's not like you drafted James Worthy and you're like, damn, we really got screwed.
Right.
Wasn't too bad.
So that's that matchup. It's on you, because one Kevin, one me.
I'm going North Carolina on this one.
I mean, I thought about throwing the team, but I tried to stick with teams I remember playing when I did my 4.
Yeah, I've only seen their championship game in full,
Yeah.
but I've seen it.
Our 5 and 6 seeds here. We got Arizona, 1997 versus the 96 Kentucky Wildcats. Pretty funny how they ended up being like 1 year apart
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So Kentucky is, I just mentioned earlier, they were the team that really got me into college basketball. I was a huge Tony Delk fan as a kid at 11 years old. I was pretty pumped about Tony Delk and Antoine Walker. They were called, I remember this, the Untouchables. People deemed them almost impossible to beat, even though they went 34-2. They did lose twice. They lost to John Calipari and UMass, who had Marcus Camby at the time. And they lost to Mississippi State, but both of those games were on neutral courts. They never lost an actual away game or home game. They ended up breezing through the tournament. They won all 6 games by an average of 21 points and blasted everybody, including John Wallace and Syracuse, in the championship.
I think this was the first tournament I actually paid attention to because of Syracuse's run. They had a bunch of teams that they snuck by. I remember Arkansas, and I remember just watching. That was probably the first time I started paying attention to more than just Syracuse in the tournament.
That Kentucky team, I know, Kevin, you had a quiz question or something earlier in the year about how many NBA players came off that team, and I said 7, but then you guys quizzed me because I did try to double up on it and say I could name all 7, but I missed 1. Named 6. I missed Nazi Muhammad. So, I mean, to have a team that has 7 NBA players on it and all of them play for multiple years is amazing, really. Yeah. To have that kind of talent. I don't really know if any other team in our bracket has that kind of depth. I don't think any team goes 7 NBA deep.
Yeah.
So that leads to Arizona, who I took, and I know they're a little ways down. I do remember that this Arizona team had Miles Simon and Mike Bibby, who I was always a fan of. I really enjoyed Mike Bibby in the NBA too, when he was leading Sacramento all those years that just couldn't get past that dominant Lakers team. They're way low. There they are. Oh, because they went 25-9. They went 25-9. I know why I put them in there. The very first thing that's talked about them, they were the only team ever in the tournament to beat all 3 number 1 seeds.
Ballin'.
They were able to top the overall seed Kansas 85-82 in the Sweet 16. This is considered the ultimate Cinderella story because then they were able to beat a Providence, a North Carolina, and a Kentucky. Like I said, Mike Bibby and Miles Simon did beat Kentucky in the final 84-79. I really just like the story of them beating all those number 1 seeds. I thought that was that's like a true Cinderella run. They came in as a 3 seed, I believe. So I don't know. I like that. But you also know how I feel about Kentucky, so I really don't give a shit who gets by on this one.
I'm gonna go with the 7 NBA players.
Yeah.
Could you imagine seeing a 2 seed beat the 1 seed in their division, then beat the 1 seed in the Final Four
in the bottom, and then beat the one in the final?
Yeah,
yeah. That's what I mean. I mean, you guys throw a little love to that team for doing that. I don't know if we'll see that.
Probably not.
That's why I'm really surprised. Probably because they were it was credited, because that UConn team that won, they ranked right around the same, that 2011 Kemba team, right around the same area. But they ranked Arizona 58 and that Kemba team 59th. So they weren't showing a lot of love to the Cinderella runs in the ESPN rankings.
Moving on to our 1 versus 12 seed. Villanova of last year, 2018 versus UCLA of 1973.
Who ended up picking that Nova team?
I did.
I thought Cory would have.
As I actually had all 81 in front of my face, I couldn't pull the trigger.
I did it for you, don't worry. Saved you. As Cory likes to tell us all about how dominant they were throughout the entire tournament. Didn't lose or win any game by...
They won every game by 10 or more.
Yeah.
Including their Big East tournament. So it was a run that stretched a ways.
It's definitely one of the more dominant performances in
most
NCAA tournament.
The only thing I can say that helped them compared to UCLA is the 3-point line wasn't even around back in 73. So that gives you one up to put on the point differential. But having said that, we also haven't seen a team where they go 6 deep with 3-point shooters ever in college. I don't even know in the NBA if there's a team that has 6 3-point, like real 3-point shooters on it. Golden State, maybe.
Maybe.
They were really considered the Golden State of this era. That's why I did always show them a lot of love. I don't think we'll see something like that for a while. To have a center that can step back and shoot threes, and he's doing it on Atlanta this year. He actually plays. Because I thought it was a mistake he even left. I can't think of his name right now, but he's doing well. So,
Were you going to say something, Kevin?
Most 3-pointers ever in 6 games in the tournament.
yeah. And then to top it off, their defense was ranked in the top 10 most of the year. So it was a legit all 3-and-D team. It's going to be tough.
All right, well, I'm picking Nova, and I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Okay. It's on him.
Moving on to the 4 versus 6 matchup. UTEP.
How ironic that those two teams are matched up.
Right? Versus Kentucky of 1996. That is funny. I didn't even realize that till you just said that. This UTEP team had a movie made after them.
Glory Road.
Glory Road. They were actually called Texas Western back in the day. First college team to start 5 African-American players. Went on to show us that basketball is an African-American sport.
Yeah, that coach knew what he was doing a little bit.
Yeah.
They went on, the reason we were joking earlier is because Texas Western went on to beat a Kentucky team that was led by Pat Riley. Not coaching. Pat Riley was playing and was the star of that team. I'm trying to remember the guys on that team.
Oh.
Their center ended up being a star and went to the NBA and played a little bit. And actually, his nephew played on Oklahoma just a couple years ago. I can't remember.
Off Kentucky or off Utah?
Off of Texas Western. Remember in the movie, the bald guy that was big and highly recruited, like he came in with like the suit and he was all fancy. He ended up going on to the NBA, and like I said, his nephew played for Oklahoma. Yeah, they were a good team. They had a little bit of a miracle run in them though. People didn't believe that you could start 5 African Americans and make the run. Evan, you actually need to pick again because it's Texas Western versus the 96 Kentucky team.
Was it the Kentucky
team? Oh, no,
team?
it was his, so it's up to me.
Yeah. I don't get to steal his Kentucky team just because it moved on.
I'm picking the Kentucky team because I want it.
Jeez. Greedy bastard.
You take out one of my teams, I'm stealing your team. Moving on to our 8 versus 3 matchup here. 1982 North Carolina Tar Heels versus the 2011 UConn Huskies.
We already talked about the Tar Heels. I mean, you can talk about the 2011 run that I'm sure we all remember.
This is one of my favorite runs. That's probably who I consider my greatest. Just because I loved what Kemba Walker did.
You think he's the greatest college player?
I think after this run, yeah. After that run, I feel like I solidified him. They probably weren't even going to make the tournament. They went 9-9, I think, in the Big East. Because I think they were still in the Big East at that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And had to, they did like 5 rounds, right? And won 5 games in the Big East tournament.
Yeah, they started on day 1.
6.
And then that got them into the tournament as like a 7 seed or whatever.
Yeah, they're the lowest seed ever to win.
And then they went on to continue that streak and beat everybody in the NCAA tournament. I don't even remember who they ended up playing in the championship game, but
well, what I say, they were ranked 58th, right? 59th.
59th.
59th. So yeah, they went 9-9 in the Big East that year, so no one was that excited.
Mm-hmm.
But then they went on an amazing 11-0 run, 11 games in a row. Kemba Walker, I forget about Jeremy Lamb, who had a decent NBA career. He's still in the NBA. They went on to beat Butler.
Oh, was that Butler's first or second year?
Must have been, I don't know. They beat.
I think Duke won in 2010.
They beat Kentucky in the Final Four and then beat Butler in the championship.
I want to say Duke won in 2010, so I think Duke won over Butler, and then I think UConn won over Butler.
They're most known for their defense, as that Kentucky and Butler games combined, they held their opponents to 96 points combined.
Impressive.
I just remember, actually, I forgot about Jeremy Lamb. I remember Shabazz Napier and
Did it a few
Kemba.
years later.
They had like the dynamic duo going.
Shabazz wasn't there with Kemba.
He wasn't with Kemba?
No, he was there later, I think.
Oh. I thought he got one with that Kemba team.
It was like 2014.
Oh, you're right. Shabazz.
Yeah.
2011, Shabazz took the role of
2014.
2014.
Shades of 2011.
Yeah. Shabazz took over the team and led a number 7 seed Huskies. Oh, he took on the role of the Walker team that led the number 7. He wasn't a number 7 seed, though.
Right. Oh, he led the number 7 seed Huskies.
Took the role of Walker and led the. Oh, so was the other one not a 7 seed?
What? Oh.
Doesn't say what they were seeded. I thought they were the 7 seed. I didn't realize Kentucky did it again in 2014.
They might have both been 7 seeds.
I knew they beat Kentucky because that was like the highest seeded game ever, because Kentucky was only like an 8 seed and made that run.
Number 3, Connecticut.
Connecticut was a 3. So Shabazz made the real run.
Yeah. Butler advances an 8 seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were the runner-up the year before, so it was their second year being there.
You know what's also interesting about that, because I'm into the recruiting out of high school, I know you guys know, is Kemba Walker, Brandon Jennings, and Lance Stevenson were all coming out of high school at the same time, and Brandon Jennings was considered by far and away the best of the 3, and then Lance was considered second and Kemba third. And if you had to rank their careers, I would say Kemba, even though he was scouted as the third best, is way surpassed the other 2.
Yeah, I think he's
Brandon, it probably goes in opposite order. Brandon's probably had the worst, then Lance.
Brandon had a good stretch for a little bit, and then he faded off. Lance has always just kind of been a role player.
Yeah, Lance really had credit is when the Pacers actually made the playoffs and he was their starting point guard. He had a bigger role.
Anyways, this is Kevin's pick.
Jordan or Kemba?
That's not fair.
That's why I had to say it that way.
I'm going to go with the UConn team just because of what they did. They got hot at the right time. Plus, I never really watched the 82 Carolina team, so it's a little before my prime.
Moving on to the 2nd seed versus the 9 seed, San Francisco Dons of 1956 versus the 03 Syracuse Orange.
San Francisco team.
The pride of the
starred
WCC.
Bill Russell. Bill Russell were the first team to make a run. They didn't have, the tournament wasn't as long, so I didn't credit it as much to go undefeated. I know I said UCLA did it, but they had to make they had to win more games to do it. San Francisco only had to win 29 games to do it. UCLA had to win one more, but still, they had to win 30 to do it. So a lot of people credit UCLA as the first team to do it because they actually had to win 30 games to get it. But it was indeed. If you want to get technical, it was San Fran who did it first. But anyways, it was an amazing Bill Russell. No one had ever seen anything like him before. So, and they ran it with him. He also went on to win 11 NBA championships, so he was okay.
It was all right.
And he also got 2 in college. So when people see San Francisco and see that they have 2 championships, they're like, huh? Yeah, it's because they got Mr. Bill Russell. Against the Syracuse 03 team that we all know.
I don't know. We might have to
On you.
refresh.
I gotta represent the WCC in this one.
The pride of the WCC. San
Not
Francisco.
the
Are you
pride.
really? I'm shocked.
I mean, it's the only team in the WCC to win a championship.
I know.
We might be the next WCC team to win one.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't compare Carmelo to Bill Russell anyways. So.
They're our only old school team.
Had to bring one through.
Only one upset. Not really
Final
an
Four, Villanova, 2018 versus Kentucky in 1996.
This is a fucking crazy Final Four.
This is your pick.
They're like 2 of my favorite teams of all time, too. What a fucking pick.
At least you know you got one of them in the championship.
Yeah, I know. I really don't care about the bottom one, to be honest. So who do I want there? I'm going with the team that had 7 NBA players on it. Going Kentucky. Even Siri.
I'm riding it out. UConn 2011 versus the Dons of 1956.
Are these? Oh, I was going to say. So we all still have one team left.
Well, I don't.
Hey,
I
dude.
did.
You have UConn? No.
That's mine.
No, that's his.
Okay.
I have San Fran.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
have
have
San
San
Fran.
Fran.
I did.
was gonna
I had
say.
one in the Final Four, yeah.
Oh, I have to pick.
Yeah,
it's
on
you,
you.
Kevin.
We both
You
know
guys
what these
aren't
2 teams
changing?
did. We talked about them.
All right. So if you guys aren't changing, I'm taking UConn just because of the run.
Did you say we're not changing? What?
You're not changing your picks? Like, you don't have to stick with the team you pick.
Oh, no, I'm sticking with my head. Championship is the 96 Kentucky Wildcats versus 2011 Utah.
I don't want this. I don't want Kentucky to win something.
Oh, you don't want them to win anything?
I hate Kentucky. You should know this by
Well,
now.
they're your team, so just vote UConn.
I know. I'm taking Kentucky, though, because it's what got me into the madness we call March.
You taking UConn?
Yeah.
Who do you want to win, Stefan or Kevin, Corey? That's what you got to ask yourself now.
It's not even that. It's unfortunate that it's the team that got me into college basketball, so I have to go to Kentucky.
Sweet.
I don't care. I had 2 teams in the Final Four, so fuck you guys.
You did.
To be fair, that Villanova 18 we thought about, and we just passed.
Okay, but I picked last, and nobody had picked them, so
I thought
obviously
Corey
we
was going to
weren't
take
that
it.
high on them.
I knew I had to get Syracuse in somehow. So.
They got out the first round better
Yeah.
than they did this year.
They made it past the bye. Or they made it to the byes, I should say.
Thought about throwing a Gonzaga team in there, runner up.
Just because we had a chance to pick our teams.
I was like, I won't do that. At least I got one WCC team in there.
You did.
Yep.
Bill Russell represents you guys well.
And you didn't even pick him. Corey did.
Yeah, no. Oh, he picked them before I did.
Yeah, I know.
I tried to go too old and too new.
Too old.
That's-
Yeah. I wasn't about those old teams.
Yeah.
I didn't see him. I don't
that.
care about him.
Yep, caught that. Figured that out
Yep,
real
you
quick.
go as far back as 96. We got it. But that 96 team won it, so
Yep.
put them number one on our thing.
So there you have it. Kentucky, 1996, best.
Well, 7 NBA players, and we already did discuss they won every game by 22 points or more. I mean,
Deserving.
Patino maybe have questionable recruiting tactics, but he gets the job done.
He got it done that year,
Mm-hmm.
and then he split, and Tubby Smith took over.
Tubby got one.
Tubby got one right after, yeah.
I always love calling him by his first name. Tubby can do it. Listen here, Tubby. Could you imagine doing an interview? Listen here, Tubby. You gotta get your facts.
Guy's probably gotta hate his life. Probably not though. Making millions of dollars.
I was gonna say he's got more than us.
Coaching Division I basketball.
I was shocked when he got fired from Minnesota because he actually was doing well there.
Yeah, but they wanted what's his face?
Rick Pitino.
Yeah. Richard.
But then Tubby went to Texas Tech,
Pitino.
but now he's somewhere else. I don't know if he's even coaching.
Where is Tubby?
Is he not at Temple right now?
Tubby's.
No, he's not at Temple. That was an old.
That was Don Chaney.
Don Chaney.
He is head coach of High Point.
Oh, of course.
There you go. See, they'll get them in
They're
this.
like the worst team.
So he
I'll
went
get to
from
mention.
Minnesota to Texas Tech to Memphis
Oh,
to
Memphis.
High Point. He got a raw deal at Memphis. That's for sure.
He was a good coach. Back.
He's still a good coach. Just not getting the job. Yeah.
They
Okay, Kevin.
High Point finished 16-15 this past season.
It's only their first year. You gotta give him a chance. Like you said, you gotta get his players in there. He doesn't have his players
Well,
yet.
they're probably happy to have a winning record.
I don't know. Just slack. Let's get in a bucket. Get off Tubby.
All right. See you, Tubby. All right. Anyway, had to throw that last one. My first bucket. Virginia is the early favorites to win the tournament next season. Do they even make the Final Four next year?
Pass.
I'm gonna pass too. I don't know if any of you would bite.
We like barely won 4 or 5 games in a row.
Yeah, but they got the job done. That's
Them
all that matters.
being ranked by 38th by ESPN is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then Kemba and Arizona, who beat 3 1 seeds, is ranked in the 50s. What?
Yikes.
Yikes.
Speaking of yikes, Antonio Brown will have more yards and touchdowns than Juju Smith-Schuster next year.
Bucket.
A bucket.
I'm going to pass. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is going to have a better year again. I think now that...
You guys got to prove it to me that you could do it without Antonio before I buy into it.
But do we...
I love him, obviously.
But do we find out that Antonio's a product of Ben Roethlisberger?
Mhm.
Maybe.
He hasn't had a touchdown pass from anyone but Big Ben. And also, I think he's on the decline. He just got paid, and most players that just get paid get injured that year. So
My only thing with that theory is, because I always wondered that, are these receivers all products of Ben? Is when Emmanuel Sanders left and went to Denver and was still a stud. Like, obviously it was just he's talented.
we shall see. Or is it just jealousy on our part? Or my part, I should say. This one, I thought Cory may have taken Tiger to win it this year, but he did not. But Tiger Woods makes a cut at Augusta.
Book it.
Bucket.
I'll book
We're
it.
going the same.
I'm going to book it, but I'm not going to... It's
So
not a
let's show
hard
together.
book it. All
You're
right.
not booking it, or you are booking it.
It's a soft booking.
I don't know if that's how this game works.
It's a paperback. It's just a little paperback.
I won't be surprised if he doesn't make the cut. I will say that. How about that?
See, this is just you have to be all
He
in
said
or all
bucket,
out.
Ro,
I
right?
said book it though. Yeah.
You have to be all in or all out.
All right. Well, here's one.
He's-
Stefan has the lead in NASCAR in August. Are you booking it?
Bucket.
Yeah, kidding me?
Does he have the lead by 30 right now?
I don't know.
60.
No.
No,
Not that much.
that's over me. It's
August? Man, we're only in April.
27.
I'm going to pass.
Yeah, I'm passing too. He's due for some rough stretches
There's
here.
going to be some stumble. This can't last.
Yeah, it can't.
Even he's getting nervous.
I think that's exactly why I'm doing so well. It's because I'm playing so
Carefree.
Yeah.
You're just like, Suarez.
Yeah.
Soiree.
Hip hip soiree. All right. This one, maybe I'll play for Ben tomorrow because we're doing our UFC podcast tomorrow. Ben gets at least 4 points or more in UFC this weekend.
Pass.
Oh, it's a unanimous passing because
Oof.
until you prove something to us, Ben,
Yeah.
we ain't booking shit.
You're like Juju Smith-Schuster to me. Prove it, and then I'll believe in you.
You had a good stretch at the end of the season, but Cory beat you still. Just saying.
That's fired. Pew, pew, pew.
I'm not even worried about like winning UFC. I just want to make sure I finish above Ben. That's my goal.
You know, if that had said Ben gets 2 or more points, I still would have passed.
All right.
Yeah.
Whew, that's harsh.
I wanted to pass if it was 1, though.
What?
I'll give him the 1.
Well, seeing how Syracuse basketball is in turmoil, I decided to throw a little fun jab here. Syracuse football, which finished ranked 15th this year in the poll, finishes higher in the football poll than Gonzaga finishes in the college basketball poll, which finished 6th in the latest rankings, the final rankings, I should say.
I'm going to go ahead and pass.
So I'm just trying to figure out how this even works.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? So if Gonzaga finishes ranked high, say like 10, and Syracuse finishes in the
So you're
football
talking about not where they rank at any point during the year. It's just where they're finishing.
where they finish.
Because by the way this says, we'll have a higher rate than Gonzaga basketball. This just means like at any point in the year.
Yeah, it's finish. It's implied. Just because it's written
It's not
there.
implied. You have to write it.
He's
as that.
implying it.
Yeah,
No.
I'm implying.
So at the end of the year, I'm passing that Syracuse football will be ranked higher than Gonzaga at the end of their season.
I pass as well.
I think Gonzaga's due for a bad season. Joe Lenardi says yes. So 3 times
3 seeds a bad season, apparently.
12. They'll finish 12. Syracuse is going to get a 9 seed. Possibly make it to the playoffs even before like getting the 9 seed. So yeah, book it.
Crack.
Either that or I'm just trying to get on Cory's Yikes.
You're not on it.
Damn it!
You're not
one of
on
these
my
weeks.
yikes.
One of these weeks.
What's my cheat sheet? Got it.
Got your cheat sheet this
First-
time. That's nice.
Wow, he actually wrote it down. Sweet.
Yeah. My first yikes is Mike D'Antoni out with the flu. Yikes. Does Houston get upset first round? No coach? Damn. That would be crazy.
Yikes.
Yikes. Sorry, James Harden. Just never going to get it done. Well, you aren't with D'Antoni anyways. He's proven that. Moving on.
It gets better.
Moving on. Mr. Manziel has chosen to be called John now. John?
Yeah, I saw
John
that.
Football? Yikes! That doesn't even sound good. Come on. That's Johnny Football.
Go back to Johnny.
Johnny Football. Yikes. John.
Yikes.
Get out of here. Come on.
My name is John.
Third, Gilbert Arenas says that Zion is just a superior athlete with no real basketball skills.
Oh, jealousy.
Yikes, Gilbert! Wake up! Zion's going to be the future of basketball. You're a little bit slow to the party thinking he can't do a drag pick.
Look
and
at
all that.
LeBron. Jesus.
All that.
Arenas, where were you
Yeah.
all these years?
Yeah, you were having shootouts with Javaris Crittenton in the locker room. Come on, man.
Yikes.
Yikes. Number 4, TJ Dillashaw, 2-year suspension for ped use. Yikes, man.
Yikes.
2 years?
EPOs, they'll get you every time.
What'd you do?
EPOs.
Shoot it? A lot. Maybe the worst of the worst. Chris Davis, batter for the Orioles, sets the record. 47 at-bats hitless. Yikes!
Yikes!
Don't worry, he's
Take
getting
a
26
seat,
million
buddy.
this year.
Take a seat.
Maybe he goes 47-47 for the next 47.
He won't. He won't.
Isn't he making
Yikes.
like 20 million this year too?
Yeah, he got paid. Paid to do nothing. Literally.
Yikes.
To do nothing.
He's a good
Baltimore.
outfielder.
Yikes. He's not.
He's on Baltimore. Come on.
Maybe he brings good team chemistry. I'd pay $20 million for that.
And on that note,
Johnny Football, get it together. Gilbert Arenas, get it together. Mike D'Antoni, hope you get better. TJ Dillashaw, see you never. And who are we just talking about? Oh yeah, Chris Davis. Just yikes. I don't have a rhyme for that scheme I was carrying.
Yikes! This is Corey's last show with us.
is Corey gonna take down the blanket?
Should do like a ceremonial.
Can you play a funeral like song?
That's a sad song.
Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye.
When's the last time you guys like took those down?
It's been a while.
Yeah. I don't even know what this is. I just typed in sad song. Oh.
Can you leave it here so I can just like snuggle it and pretend like you're here with me? Just wrap it around me every time you do a show. Just need your warmth
I cried
for those
a little.
cold winter months.
Yeah, I won't miss the days being in a red puffy jacket up here.
I will. The pure.
I'm gonna start doing it downstairs now.
I was gonna say, does that now that you're gonna take over the apartment, does that mean you're gonna have like your own studio office and stuff?
You could.
I'll have something set up.
He has 2 bedrooms.
It's gonna be a little warmer for Stefan too.
Sure. Yep.
No more times in the attic.
Nope.
Sad times.
End of an era.
Warmer for each of us. It's a win-win.
Oh man, in June when I come and visit, I'll be comfortable instead of sweating my ass off because we're in the
I just
hottest
hope you can
place.
find a quiet place to do it down there. Yeah. It's gonna be probably the tough part.
Probably.
Oh yeah. It's okay.
We'll figure it out.
I'm thinking about setting up my booth out by the lake that we oversee. Just outside podcast.
Go to Starbucks.
Just hear a beep, beep.
That's what our viewers want to see.
They get enough of
Maybe
that.
even louder there.
Probably get in trouble for advertising. Or we should get paid.
No.
Yeah.
No, you'd be surprised at what goes on in Starbucks. Actually, you could probably see some cool stuff happen with homeless
A whole bunch
people.
of coke
usually.
and sex in the bathrooms, I hear.
I walked in on someone doing drugs. That was interesting.
Hmm.
Just a bunch of stuff all over the floor, and it was just like, I closed the door immediately, and I was like, not my issue. I don't get paid enough. And I walked straight to the store manager. It was like, so someone's doing drugs in the bathroom. Have fun with that. And I went back to work. And I guess when the manager knocked on the door, it was a girl, and she was like, oh Jesus. Just because you're seeing Jesus doesn't mean it's a thing. All right.
Wrong with people.
Everything.
Well, been real.
Has been real.
Wish you nothing but warm weather.
Maybe some Carolina games are in my future.
Continued non-dominance in NASCAR.
Thanks. I'm in NASCAR country now. It better step my game up.
It's not.
You gonna go to some races? Charlotte?
It won't help me, Kevin. It won't.
You gonna go to Charlotte? Go to Charlotte. Why not?
I don't even think asking Kyle Busch to make my picks for me would help.
You just need to start making the picks that you make
In your head.
But I can't keep picking. I can, on my predictions, I mean, I can pick the same person over and over again.
Yeah.
And I'm only hit it 3 times.
Yeah, first one.
Mm-hmm.
That one he could have done. No, you're right. You have already picked him.
I could have done Kesselowski. Oh, no. Kevin took Kesselowski.
I think Kyle Busch should have been. Well, if I meant if you or no, you're sorry. Over here, your picks, that's right.
Yeah.
Kesselowski, you would have.
I could have taken.
But he had taken him.
Yeah.
But you could have picked him first. Cause look,
Right, that's what I was saying. I could have taken him. And then Kyle Busch if I didn't take him.
All right. Are we doing the show Tuesday, Stefan? Since you're my only lock for next week.
I think I work Tuesday, so I think it's gonna have to be Wednesday.
Wednesday's fine.
Yeah.
If anything, Kevin and I will be a call-in.
Okay.
I won't be set up.
All right.
Or even if you want to just record.
Yikes.
Yikes.
My yikes.
Yeah.
That's true. That's what we talked about.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just do that because I'm going to be busy unpacking.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
Well, I'll just record your yikes and send it to us.
Send it to me.
Fair enough.
Well, send it. Send it to the group.
Try to give it a lot of energy.
Yeah. Let us know how you really feel down there.
I will. Look at my place. Yikes! Yikes!
Traffic getting here. Yikes! This homeless person that won't leave my stoop.
Yeah.
This. Ooh, dashboard cams. All right. Till next week.
A-Town.
Well, maybe we'll do a bracket.
Can't do a bracket without him.
We've done it.
Kevin's got a whole bunch of them lined up. Knock them out.
Yeah.
Hard doing it with 2 people though.
Not
So,
really.
Well, you can't vote against each. You'd have to go to Siri.
Which is fine. That's our third. I mean, if Cory and I can do a Marvel one without you, and a fighting one, we did a lot without you, actually.
I know.
He was busy in nursing school.
All
That
right.
was my busy stretch.
We had to make content. That was our content last year, so.
We'll figure it out.
All right. Well, until next time, always cool.